These days they playing with hearts, love is a joke, loyalty isn't common, it's about as rare as some gold. That's why people getting shady and the world getting cold.
YouTube, what's good? It's your boy Will Trill. We back with another video, man. As you guys can see by the title and the thumbnail of this video, I'm doing the animated story time reaction video. So yes, I know this is something new that's normally not brought upon my channel. I don't know why I said that. That probably don't even make sense, but I'm just gonna leave it in there anyways. But yeah, I know this is not something, you know, normal that I would do, but I always want to react to an animated story, and this is a horror story too as well, so I feel like this is gonna be funny, entertaining, so you guys should sit back and watch it with me. If you haven't already, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that, support your kid, and let's get straight into the video.
My hands began to sweat as I gripped on tightly to my wife, Sarah. "Is there a Walter Thompson here?" Gloria led the ritual. She was an older woman who had years of...
Oh my gosh, come on, man, stop playing with me.
...specialized experience in this type of work. Her husband, Tom, was her business partner and joined us in the ritual today. My wife and I originally reached out to Gloria because we had noticed some strange occurrences happening in our newly purchased home. Doors would creak and close randomly. Objects would move slightly throughout the house. Eventually, it started scaring my wife.
I tried to pause
so here we are.
Hey, ghost. Oh wow, that's how you know my computer is trash. It's just not pausing. But hey, that shit real.
So here we are, seated at our kitchen table with the lights dimmed. I felt like I was in a plot for an Insidious sequel. To me, this was a bit much. "Walter, are you here with us right now?" Gloria pleaded with someone who didn't respond. With my eyes closed, I smiled at how bizarre this felt. I didn't know who Walter was, but supposedly, Gloria did her research on our house and found that an old man named Walter Thompson owned this house in the late 1800s. I, on the other hand, didn't do my research and simply bought the house because the price was unbeatable. "Walter, can you give us a sign to let us know you're here?" Her words echoed throughout the large dining room. Our hands remained clenched together. "Walter, give us a sign." Moments later, a creak from the old wooden floor got our attention.
Hey man, I just started getting chills.
I peeked out of one eye at my wife, who continued to keep her eyes shut. "Walter, was that you?" Gloria continued to question. Another creak echoed from the wooden floorboards, but this time longer and louder. "Walter, my name is Gloria. I want to know why you remain here in this house." Gloria waited for a response, but got none. "Walter, are you here because of what happened to your wife?"
Just stop.
Our large chandelier above our table began to rock back and forth. At this point, everyone, even Gloria, opened her eyes. "Walter, I want you to know that what went on that night happened a very long time ago," she continued. "These people have nothing to do with what happened. These are good people." The lights began to flicker. "Walter, do you understand that?" Without a response, Gloria continued.
Let me stop.
"Walter, I want you to be free from this house. Your wife is no longer here. You are free to go." I was in shock. I looked at my wife, who no longer had her eyes shut. She was near tears. "Walter." In the front room, the piercing sound of a television turning on grabbed all of our attention
Hey, I could've sworn
as
I
it
just heard
loudly
something in my
switched
house,
from
bro.
channel to channel. Do not break the
I'm about to
circle.
turn this
Leave
off.
it on.
Hey, buddy.
Gloria yelled to us. Gloria continued the
I heard
ritual.
a knock or something.
Walter, I demand that you leave this house right now. You have no business being here any longer. The chandelier above rocked ferociously back and forth as stomping from upstairs filled the room. Ignore it, Gloria demanded. I stared at my wife in amazement and disbelief as she wept. Walter, she's gone. Your wife is gone. She cannot hurt you anymore. With that, silence. The chandelier stopped. The television flicked off. The stomping subsided. I looked at my wife and questioned, "What do you know? What the hell happened in this house?" Gloria finally opened her eyes and
confused.
stared at me. There was a man who lived in this house named Walter Thompson. He was murdered by his wife. He had an affair and she was never able to forgive him, so she brutally killed him. What? I said out of confusion. Gloria let go of my hand and
Don't mess with these
stood
crazy
up from the
females out here,
table,
boy.
breaking the circle. Honey, the circle, her husband Tom quickly exclaimed. But Gloria stood up and walked over to the window. Her name was Evelyn Thompson. She killed her
She
husband.
messed up.
The chandelier began to lightly swing again. She did everything
Shit,
for
move.
her husband,
She messed up.
but he was infatuated with the woman living next door. Gloria's husband tried
I bet
stopping
you it was
her.
her.
Gloria, please come
I
back
don't
to
know
the
what
circle.
I'm bugging.
He didn't realize all that she did for him. Again, Gloria's husband spoke. Damn it, Gloria, get back to the table. The table began to shake uncontrollably.
I'm getting the chills again, yo.
Gloria turned around and stared with dead eyes at her husband. Her face
Why she looking
was
like that?
changed. Isn't that right, Walter? Gloria ran over to her husband and grabbed him and started choking him by the throat. His face grew
That
blue
big
as
crazy.
he begged the best he could. My wife screamed. I jumped from the table and ran over to
How did it
Gloria.
go?
I pulled
How
on
did
her
it?
until she let go of her husband, who dropped lifelessly to the floor. She made me, Gloria
Killed.
screamed. She's
Crazy.
here. She made me break the circle. Gloria looked
she got
at her
possessed.
husband's cold
Oh.
body. My God, what have I done? She wept. I tried to make sense of everything. I grabbed onto Gloria and held her as she cried.
Boy, I
I
wouldn't even
looked
be touching
around.
her. I wouldn't
Sarah,
even be there
I
in the
called
first
for my
place.
wife, still
Come
sitting
on,
at
man.
the table.
I would
Baby,
not
come
be
here.
there.
My wife stared at me. Are you okay, Sarah? I cried out to her. She stood up. Her movements were stiff.
Don't tell
Sarah,
me she
honey,
got it
we need
too.
help over here. What's wrong with you? She looked at me
Run.
with dead
Run.
eyes.
I
She
told you.
spoke in a demonic voice.
Nothing, Walter.
Oh, that's crazy.
The old
Yes.
Mackinac Hotel isn't
Nope.
like anything you've really seen before. In 1908, Bernard Mackinac purchased the hotel and soon after married his longtime love, Janice. The couple had 2 children, both of which would die in the,
The fact
hotel
that it's in black and white
before
make
their
it
3rd birthday
more scary.
in room 214.
Even more scary, may I say.
Prior to the purchase, the hotel was an old preliminary school that was shut
hope I don't
down
get a
after the
copyright strike for this.
schoolmaster, Martha Sandoval, took her
Oh,
own
yeah,
life.
too.
For years, many have said it is too haunted to even visit. I'm about to prove that theory wrong. I'm what they call an outdated ghost hunter. I use equipment that many ghost hunter companies would laugh at because it's so old-fashioned. It's the only equipment that I believe works, and I've had great success with it. The old Mackinac Hotel has always been one of my most sought-after hunts. I arrived around dusk to find the old hotel sitting on the corner of a quiet, empty street. I always take my assistant, Delma, with me, regardless of the fact that she speaks little English. She is quite good at following instructions. The main lobby is cluttered with antique furniture and light fixtures. Portraits of family members line the dust-stained corridors.
If you ever
The thing
come to a
about
house
me
and it has antique
is
furniture,
that I see
then I'll let
ghost
you know right
hunting
now, you
as
don't
a
need to be there.
job, not an adrenaline
Don't need to be
sport.
there.
It takes quite a bit for me to get scared. I immediately take out my EMF meter, which can detect changes in any type of energy. The gauge bounces wildly. Delma, I want you to stay down here in the lobby while I check out the upstairs. I noticed the change in expression on Delma's face.
I'm coming with.
She didn't want to be here. The main staircase is nothing grand or luxurious. The poorly constructed steps squeak under my feet as I ascend to the top. A cold rush of wind rushes past my face as I reach the top of the staircase. The hallway is dark and uninviting. Again, my EMF meter dances freely with the change in energy. Room 214. It was buried into my mind. As I begin my journey down the hall,
I'm not even trying to be extra,
footsteps emanate from the staircase behind me
me.
and slowly fade away. I continue on my way. The old walkie-talkie clipped to my belt starts humming. It has a static tone to it, almost as if someone is trying to speak. I grab the walkie and hold the talk button. Delma, are you all right? I wait for a moment. Yes, I'm okay, she reassures me. I'm getting a little static on the walkie. I'm going to 214. I'll be down in a couple minutes.
I bet you it's not her.
Once again, I begin to creep forward. I continue forward with painstakingly slow footsteps. I whip my head backwards as hollow sounds of crying emanate in the distance. Crying that sounds like children. I try to keep my mind focused, but I can feel my adrenaline start pumping. My flashlight marks the dreary red carpet in front of me. Carpet that likely hasn't been cleaned in decades. Finally, I reach my destination, room 214. I pause for a moment to collect myself. I slowly crack open the door. The old door hinges that haven't been greased in ages let out a terrible screeching sound. Inside, there's a bed with white sheets. I whisper into my walkie-talkie, Delma. No response. Static. Delma, are you okay?
Jojo, she gone.
I hear the distant sounds of breathing through the walkie. I hear a low whisper.
I told y'all she gone. I told you.
Get out. Delma,
You ain't
I'm
gotta
coming
tell me
down
twice.
now. I call into the
I wouldn't even be
walkie-talkie.
there. Gone.
Again, static. And then, get out! The demonic voice, loud and screaming almost, sends me to the floor. In the corner, I saw a figure hanging by a rope, staring at me through the jet black hair covering her decrepit face. Just then, the door behind me slams shut.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
My whole
What,
life, I've lived in a small town. No, it's not rural, but it definitely isn't a metropolitan area. It's one of those towns, if you zoom in a little bit on Google Maps, it'll eventually pop up. The funny thing about my town is that it's most well known for a little cemetery that sits at its center. When I tell people where I'm from, the first thing they ask about is that cemetery. And yes, it has been described as one of the most haunted places in America. And yes, it is in fact
I wouldn't be
haunted.
5 miles.
I've been to that old cemetery many times, but only once at night. I promised after that night I would never go back. One weekend, 2 of my friends and I thought it would be a good idea to go ghost hunting at this specific cemetery. We soon learned it was the exact opposite. None of us had much experience with the paranormal, but I, for one, was always intrigued. We loaded up a camera, some cheap EVP equipment that we bought on Amazon, and made our way across town. To get to this cemetery, there is a long, beaten-down trail with woods on both sides. The walk down that trail seemed like it took forever. I began regretting my decision when we finally got to the gate leading into the cemetery. This gate is always locked at night to prevent vandals from entering.
Gotta go home.
However,
Can't go inside.
tonight,
Trips over.
the gate was wide open, almost like it was inviting us in.
Nope.
The minute I stepped in, I felt a chill crawl down my spine. We unloaded our equipment and started randomly filming different areas of the cemetery. Leaves crunched under our feet as the full moon above guided us through the dark cemetery. To be honest, I didn't want to be there. Something felt
They ain't got no
off.
light or nothing.
We continued to walk aimlessly around,
Why would you go
looking
to a
for
cemetery?
anything interesting.
Like, why would you just walk
Within
through that thing at
moments,
night? Like,
we
come on,
found
bro.
something. In front of me was a tombstone, rotten with built-up dirt. On it was the word son. There was something about this specific tombstone. No name, no dates, just that one word. Next to the grave was a small stuffed teddy bear. It too was battered and worn. My friends could sense my fear and began joking around, calling me a wimp and a baby when I told them I wanted to
Call
leave.
me a whip.
So,
I don't care.
in a juvenile attempt at impressing them and showing my false
What Chris Brown
bravery,
say?
I took the teddy bear
Deuces.
and threw it deep into the surrounding woods.
That's where you messed
Our
up.
laughs
Should've never
echoed
did.
through the
Should've
crisp
never did.
night.
That's where you messed up.
We
at.
decided after another 30
That's your
minutes
butt,
or
boy.
so
That's your
without
butt.
any substantial happenings that it was time to leave. We reviewed our footage on the walk home. In every video clip, there was a white figure standing immediately behind me. We thought that maybe it was just an issue with the film,
fair enough.
but the more we looked, we realized that there was something there with us. My friends dropped me off that night at my
Ooh, it
house.
came home with
I
him
felt
too.
scared and ashamed for what I had done. I walked up to my
You
front
should
door
never win.
and
What
was
idea is that?
immediately stopped in my tracks. I looked around, scared to death. I didn't know what to do.
What?
Sitting on my front porch, was
I told
a
you should have
battered
thrown it.
and worn
What did I tell you?
teddy bear. Thanks for watching. You can watch a similar video here. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay tuned for more.
They just do not listen. I didn't mean to do that. I did not mean to do that. I'm pretty sure it's paused. Hey, this wasn't that bad, honestly. No cap, I really got the chill still. Kind of sweat, but you guys can't see it up under the jacket. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for the video today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want me to react to another one, I'm down. I actually really enjoyed this one. This was like pretty entertaining in my opinion. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that. Support the kid. It's been your boy Will Trill, and I'm out.
It goes on, life changes, but the world does not. Too slow, you gotta score while you're on the clock. If you ain't make it, just go back and rethink your plot. Cause if you lose it, it'll hurt, and it hurts a lot. But look, I like to see it as a lesson. It can help you change. Can nothing move you just as much as emotional pain. It gets your pride that can really leave a dirty stain. You gotta maintain, don't let it